She put a pot on she hair and gone. Them a the first one out on the dam. Basket on she head, bucket in each hand. Hold up on she frock, I wanna she grandson. To the market, them a go. For the morning, the day is dawning. For cock-a-crow to give the villagers a warning. Rise and shine, the birds them a sing. All animal take turn as them join in the waking. Cock-a-crow, dagabag.
I said, this evening, I welcome you once more to the BVTriumph report. In this report, my intention is to raise some issues pertaining to the functioning of the council, among which will be my suspension from the council. This suspension, I shall be challenging it at the next council meeting because it was a suspension that was definitely unprocedural and unconstitutional. But for now, I will just leave it at that because I will be going there with my lawyer. I've already gotten instructions from my lawyer as to how to proceed with that. So now there are other issues in the council. We all know, we are all aware that the lands that the BVTriumph Council has attempted to sell John Finance is supposedly to be resolved. That's what they keep telling us, that that issue was resolved. Minister Dharamlal was here. He said John Finance is no longer interested in those lands. But I must tell you, folks, the council has not refunded the money to John Finance. Why are they keeping John Finance money? That is the question. To be honest, the council did write John Finance. I've been imploring on them to write John Finance. And how do I know they have written to John Finance? I went to John Finance. John Finance agreed that, Secretary agreed that there was a letter that was received dated 1st of April. But they have not responded yet to the council. On the other hand, there is another party claiming rights to those lands. That party, Mohammed Sons and Daughters, as a deed of assignment from John Finance. That is their claim. John Finance is not saying yes or no, whether or not they have made that document handed over the rights to those lands. But what one fellow mentioned to me, that maybe the fact that there might have been a third party involved in this deal, and the third party might very well have been Mohammed Sons and Daughters, because we have had a letter coming from Glenn George, a lawyer, Miss Glenn George, claiming that her client is ready, willing, and able to seal the deal. Nobody on the council, at least nobody has openly said on the council that they realize that there is a third party involved. So we don't know if Mohammed Sons and Daughters is this third party. And if the third party is involved, then we can see somebody was working for a commission or somebody got a commission on the sale. And for the refunds to be made, that commission may have to be returned. So that is why Mohammed Sons and Daughters maybe are coming forward to make a claim, because they will have to be refunded whatever commission they received or whoever received it, in order to refund John Finance, because John Finance is making no effort to claim their monies back from the council, because the council has written to them asking them for a meeting, and they have not come to that meeting. On the other hand, when I contacted them, the secretary indicated to me that he would have been coming to the last council's meeting, which was last Thursday. That secretary was a no-show. Left reason to wonder why it happened that way, right? So we cannot deal with John Finance and that meeting, right? Someone is trying to call me. I don't know why to come into the meeting. He said he would have been in this meeting. So John Finance is still to show reasons why he is there. They should be given, no, why they're not claiming their money, making a strong claim for their money. So we have to deal with that in the very short time, right? So now, as I said, at that meeting, I walked away from the council. It's not because I didn't want to look after the people's business, that is the residents of BVTriumph business, but because I had something else to do at the time, which was kind of pressing. So and as they didn't, because I realized that if I had insisted on sitting there because of their lapses in the procedure by which they attempted to, suspend me, that would have taken probably all night, and they would have walked out, and then there would have been no meeting. But I wanted to give John Fernand's agent an opportunity to meet with the full council, so I left. But as I said, he did not turn up. So I sacrificed for that purpose and for some other reasons personal. Now, the thing is, they tried to use a document which I circulated, a document which a few of us, including myself, crafted, because people came to me with complaints against the council, and we had intended to send that document to the Local Government Commission. Now, that document was not sent because there was still some clarifications to be made as to the procedure, what should be first, the order of things. But as the minister had already made the order for an audit of the council, we felt that, well, there is no other reason. The minister had indicated that he'll do an audit. That same minister had expressed his disgust, I must say, about the performance of the council. That's why the audit was called. So I took it on my own after consulting with two of the other persons involved in crafting that document, that we should go forward the document to the minister. That document, the minister forwarded to the chairman of the council, and he used that document as the pretext under which he wanted to suspend me, because he said that I should have raised those matters with the council. Some of those issues were pre my time in the council. No, he would have given me a proper explanation, but I know the explanation. Those people, they have what I would say, they do not have the DNA of shame. Their DNA does not include that component that makes people ashamed of lying, make people ashamed of being bold-faced. Because that very chairman, in December, when I confronted him after he said the document was leaked about the sale, I mean, you're going to sell our lands and then saying it's a leaked document? And if anyone can show transport, he will resign. Now there are several hundred transports or owners of those lands known. They have the list of, and he's still sitting there as the chairman. Where is the shame? Right? That same person went ahead and made negotiations to establish a housing scheme in Section F, where they encourage young people in the village to go and picket the council for house lots in Section G. Section F, I keep saying G. Section F. Then they said that they would have been making those house lots available at a price. I mean, those lands are owned again by private individuals, yet they are making arrangement to have those lands parceled out into house lots. No, I must say I've also heard on the road that some big ones with money, deep pockets, were given a number of houses to build. So at the end of the day, the people of BV would not have been able to get house lots because you would have had to buy a complete house. And those houses would not have been cheap. right? In the same documents that I submitted to the minister, and I discussed this at the council, the prevalence of the practice now of utilizing, or rather of building from boundary to boundary on house lots here in the community. The chairman's supermarket occupies from boundary to boundary. Smiling supermarket is boundary to boundary. There's a new supermarket on the railway embankment, boundary to boundary. It seems to me that it is monkey see, monkey do. The chairman did it, so we can do it. Everybody is doing it. And he's gonna ask me at that last meeting, tell me that he is not violating a bylaw. No, it's fences over the drain on to what we call Jardine Street. And that is not a violation, where you could enclose, where you could bring a fence over the drain, the street drain, and you say that's not a violation. I don't know then what's a violation. Likewise, I see he is dumping. I know the bylaws cater for any business, any facility, any house to have somewhere within their boundaries to store their garbage. So he does not see it's a violation of the bylaws to store his garbage in front of Mr. Frank's residence, right? He tells me it's only Elton McCrae has an issue with that, and that is because I have a personal problem with him. In fact, I was told by one of the people with whom I shared a document that Matthew seems to have a personal problem with the man. Why not go and drink a beer at his place and call it George? I had to tell that man I don't drink beers. And it's not a personal problem. It's a question of respecting the bylaws, because monkey see, monkey do. And before long, we will have everybody building from boundary to boundary in the community, and no one will be able to stop them. People will be putting their fence over the drains onto the road. No one will be able to stop them, right? So I am aware that Mr. Frank's issue is an issue that he is not pleased with, because I've been in communication with him via an intermediary, because he's not coming on the road. And that intermediary had told me, Mr. McCrae, Mr. Frank is sick and he's in that house. The music coming over on some weekends. He cannot sleep because of the music, right? No one cares. Apart from the garbage, he cannot look through his window because he's not happy about the garbage in front of his home. But then there is no violation of the bylaws according to the chairman, because he is the chairman. The council gave him permission to concrete in front of that Mr. Frank's property to park his vehicle. So, and in fact, he had a sign there saying private property. So I don't know where next we are going in terms of the private properties in this village. What else will we take? I see Brother Frank, Mr. Frank's nephew is online. I don't know if you'd like to make a comment relative to the garbage disposal issue that his uncle is facing, and the noise issue that his uncle is facing. Donald, would you mind coming on to say something?
Yes, thank you, Elton. Certainly, I'm listening. I was in Ghana as recently, well, I was there in January. I was also there in July. Unfortunately, I didn't make it to the village in July, but it was certainly very disconcerting to see the garbage in front of my uncle's property. I did speak to the chairman at the time, and he assured me that, you know, he had some ongoing construction and that the garbage was just a temporary thing. Unfortunately, that does not appear to be the case. You know, it looks like the garbage is a permanent fixture. So I'm certainly not happy about it.
And I know your uncle too is not happy, because he has communicated that to me through an intermediary. You know, but then he is sick in the house there and he cannot confront this. He doesn't want a confrontation because it will just raise his pressure and what else. So he is just there, suffering. You know, so I will also make members of the public, the community aware. Now, at last Thursday's meeting prior to my expulsion, because one of the things, as I said, I raised was this land issue at New Generation Housing Scheme. Those lands we all know were issued to the New Generation Co-op, but they could not have occupied it because there were no ingress egress. That's the reason why they never got going on that. The chairman, the present council was able to work out something and they have ingress egress now. In fact, now I understand even that is being challenged by somebody else who is squatting on who's got some lands from the village in very questionable circumstances, but let that be for now. So, but among the things he said is that these lands were, the selection was not won by choice. They had a raffle and there were some criteria for those who could have participated in the raffle. Yet, as our document that the minister sent back to him indicate, there are 8 council members on that in the 21 who got out of 21 households, 8 council members got, and we identified 5 close friends of members of the council among those who already got lands, who got, so we're talking 13 close associates, people who are closely linked to the council, got lands. You know, I will not call all their names now, but I'll just make one reference, because among the things they said is that the persons must not have lands. No, also the persons must be from the village, they must be villagers. So I can go straight ahead and call, there's a Mohammed man there. This same man that the council leased the extension of agriculture road towards the seawall too. He's not from the village, but he got lands there. He got a house lot. I would like the council, the chairman and his henchman, the so-called pastor, to tell me how come Mr. Mohammed got a land there and he's not a villager in front of many villagers who applied. You know, he was saying to me, well, you see, Mr. McCrae, you didn't apply, so we don't see why you must be worried, because we didn't see any application from you. It's not application from Elton McCrae we should be concerned about. We should be concerned about the villagers who need, those same villagers that they had shouting in front of the market, saying they want land house lots in Section F, a position which is about 8 miles into the back, 6 miles, sorry, into the back dam, through bushes. Well, why didn't they give them from that out there? No, they needed that for themselves and their children, the councillors. We have recently, only Thursday, one councillor's building application came up for a review for the same land. So we can start talking about councillors who have lands out there. And there's, in fact, there are 2 other buildings be going up there, one for a councillor, or rather his girlfriend, I should say, and one for a very close associate to the chairman. Right? So we know that they are moved. But the thing is, these people, as I said, their DNA does not include that which makes someone ashamed. So telling them what they have done wrong means it's like throwing water on ducks' back. You know, maybe they can, just like how he came to the went on TV and tell people, they said the John Finance deal is rescinded, yet you're holding the people's money. Why, Mr. Chairman? You're still holding those monies. Now you're confronted with a claim from Mohammed's sons and daughters. How do you deal with that? Why haven't you tried to find out from Miss Glenn George, the lawyer, who says her client is ready, willing, and able to conclude a deal with you, Mr. Chairman? you said that in an interview, well, 2 interviews rather, on television, that the council did make a decision to sell John Fernand. But what you did not tell the community is that the decision on pricing of the lands was not the council decision. That decision was made by 4 people, because all the councils except Mr. Combach and yourself and Mr. Lalutek and maybe the chair, the overseer, says that they're not aware when the pricing was made. So I said maybe the overseer, because she didn't say whether or not she's aware. So I will include her for now. So it's only yourself, Lalutek and Combach has not denied knowing about the fixing of the price. Ask any other council, they did not participate in that price fixing. So tell us what's happening there, Mr. Chairman. Now, we are having other issues in the community. Our issue, we are looking at the August Street. The residents of August Street keep complaining, Mr. Chairman, that the drainage in that street is bad. The roads are bad. Yes, we know there is rains, but August Street is suffering double time compared to other parts of this community. Why, Mr. Chairman? So I would really like to know why August Street is not being attended to. I am checking to see what's happening online with the Facebook thing here as we move forward. Okay, no comments yet. Right, some other people are supposed to be on the Zoom live, but I thought I posted the link. The link was, but the link that we had were out. One person just came in asking on WhatsApp for that link. I sent it to him. I hope he comes in. No, so how do you see?
Did the link change in the interim? Because there was a link I had originally. I attempted to join on that link earlier this evening.
Today I had to put that link. I didn't realize it had expired last week. So I had to put a new link out today.
Okay. Yeah, I did discover apparently the change because it indicated the host had another meeting in progress. So ultimately I did see the new meeting ID and joined on the new ID.
Sorry about that. So
no problem.
I guess that's why I'm not being joined by others, because I thought that link was there. So when I was about to start, that's when I realized that the link was not.
Yeah.
See, when you're doing a one-man thing, it's kind of difficult sometimes to really keep track of everything.
So if I may ask a question, Sir Elton,
please.
What exactly was the basis for your suspension from the council?
Because I shared with the Minister of Local Government some issues that some colleagues brought to me, and we decided that we should send it forward to the Local Government Commission. These are complaints against the council. Among those complaints was the land that in New Generation Housing Scheme Co-op. Also, there was the issue of the basketball court, which basketball court is a serious security risk. Well, I shouldn't say security, presents some security issues in the sense that if you walk on that court or you rub you'll find there's a lot of sand, concrete, which the sand is loose in, which tells me the quality of the concrete is below par. If you're playing basketball, you need to be able to stop on demand, right? You push, you stop, and because if there's sand on the floor, on the surface, and between your boot and the surface, you're likely to slide, right? So that's a security issue. Also, the stands for the basketball court is there, it's less than 3 feet away from the court. The playing area for the court is bumped just about 3 inches from the edge of the concrete in the area. So it's let's say, for instance, if the court has to be 50 feet wide, that thing is 50.5 feet wide, the court. So there's no place for you to run off. I mean, if you're playing, you need a place, there must be a runoff area, because nobody will play and be able to stop himself if he's running or being shoved off the court. And then 3 feet away from there, or less than, you're into the stands, which can cause injury. The stand itself is another security risk. It's an accident waiting to happen. So for this reason, the young men are not playing basketball there. Besides the fact that whenever it rains, that court is the first part of the ground that floods, because it was built on a low part of the ground, and it is below ground level. Actually, it's about an inch or so below the surface level. So if you go on the court right now, it's all muddy because rains were falling, so the mud washed onto the court. So they said, well, you know, the contractor was overpaid. There was an inquiry, and the contractor had to refund some money. But the money is that the contractor refund of 1.7 million or thereabout, I can't remember the figure, right? It would not be enough to rectify all the issues there. Because for instance, the stand, I mentioned how the closeness of the stand to the court. Also the stand, it has 3 supports, the 2 outer support and a middle support. And that stand is virtually about 40-something feet wide. So you have a span of over 20 feet between supports, you know, which is not good for such a structure. Because, you know, if people are watching sports, they may tend to jump or whatever, depends on what's happening. And next, you know, we can have that entire thing coming down with people. It's a security risk. That stand will have to be rebuilt, and rebuilt in another location, somewhere away from this court. The court will have to be widened to present a playing area and a runoff area for the players, and all of that. The backboard is trash, you know. So at the end of the day, that 1-point-something million is not adequate, will not be adequate to complete the job. That's why over the past 3 years, even though the contractor refunded the 1.7 according to them, no one has been able to complete the job, because whatever they would have been asking the persons to do, it would have been too much, which in the monies that were voted for it in the initial stages would have completed the job in a proper manner. Now, that same job, I must say, every day, or virtually every day, the chairman was there overseeing the job. He was not the contractor, but he was there every day. So it's not a question that there was no oversight from the council. But when you don't know what is happening around you, you just watch on like a spectator, and that's what he was, a spectator. Though some people again says he was the actual contractor. It was his men working. Yes, those men who worked on the project they're all working with him today. His equipment were there working, but it was done in another contractor's name. The legality of that I will not go into, but you know, he was there every day seeing what was going on. Poor quality concrete being poured, and he accepted it. He accepted it for the contractor to be paid until an investigation was done by the local government commission, because a complaint probably was made, and the refunds were made. But then again, those who investigated it probably did not consider the dangers that the situation presented and all the ramifications, because if the quality of the work does not meet satisfaction, it must be redone for the monies that were there. The contractor or the supervisor, who in this case was the chairman, because he was supervising it. I don't know who was the designer. who designed it. Maybe the chairman can say who designed the entire thing. That's why we have such a faulty situation. Because to date, the idea was to remove the fellows who were playing basketball by the local authority building in the compound there to bring up front. But these guys are not going to come up front because of the dangers that court presents to them. So they continue playing at the back there. I mean, how do we promote sport in the community when those responsible for seeing that facilities are in place, proper facilities are in place, are not looking for the proper guidance, are not going ahead and getting things done the right way? We need to deal with that. So those were the issues about the back, because I'm in the letter to the document that the minister, not a letter, just a document, because it had no signature, just a list of things that were faulty. So his claim is, I should not have sent it on to the minister. I should have brought it up with council and they would have given me explanations. Similar explanation like they tried to give me when the attempt was made to sell the lands, that, oh, we will not sell people's land because we have documents to prove that the lands belongs to the council and we will not sell. And if perchance any piece of that land is owned by a resident, if one resident comes forward and shows that he owns that land, I will resign. That's what the chairman said. He said that to me at the council chamber, and he said it on television there for Christmas. If anyone comes forward with a transport and show him that he owns a piece of land there, he will resign. Now, you're seeing that there's a list of over 100 owners of those lands, and he's still sitting there. That is to say, he has no shame. His DNA does not allow him to be ashamed. I'm sorry, but I know his grandfather, I know his grandmother, I know his great-grandfather, and the others, but I don't think those people were like that. I know his uncle. Those are people who were respectable. Where did he come from? I don't know. Where did he develop this attitude from? I don't know. But himself and his henchman, they don't have shame. That henchman who calls the name of the Minister of Legal Affairs every day. Oh, I talked to the Minister of Legal Affairs and said we can sell the land because it belongs to us. Sorry, it belongs to the people. So that, I hope that satisfies your question.
If I may ask another question, Sir Alton,
yes,
are there any provisions in the bylaws of the council that allows the council to suspend a member for, it sounds like you disclosed to the minister something that was public knowledge. I'm just an outsider looking in, but that's what it appears. So from a bylaw standpoint, are they following any bylaws that are existing?
Well, there are bylaws for councillors who would have been out of order, who would have, well, I'm trying to get a proper, who by his or action would have brought the council in disrepute or done something which is egregious. But in my case, it's unconstitutional, because what I have done, as you said, these are public ramblings in the village. These are things that people are talking about every day, and nothing that should be secret. Everybody knows that the basketball court is substandard. Everybody knows that the lands at New Generation Housing Scheme were given to another group, and these people, because of their personal greed, has taken it for themselves. You know. So, in fact, he said, Miss Councillor McCrae, since you came to this council, you're like lighting the council afire, even though you're waiting it to burn up when the fire catches. You know, if that's what is required, that is what is required, to burn the council. Because there are a few people there who are very manipulative. Many of the councillors are not paying attention to what's happening, because you ask them today, how many of you have voted for the on the price of those lands in the Baghdad. None of them will say, except the three I named. Again, I will ask the question. When you ask the question about the lands, they didn't know. They were told and they believed it. Even though when the council had, one council objected to the land sale and said you should consult the villagers. I went to that first meeting and I told the chairman, the meeting didn't happen because there were only about 5 of us. I told those who were there, including the chairman, that those lands are owned by people. And it was for that reason, the RAID project, which the last government was trying to sponsor because somebody conceptualized a project based on lands that the village owns at the back. The RAID project, it was clear, the former chairman agreed with, and even Bruce Adams was there at the time. We all demonstrated that those lands are owned by people, so you cannot go and implement a project on the people's land unless you have their buy-in. That was agreed. The same Cumberbatch, he's aware of that, but yet he came with a document from somewhere, which document is dated sometime in 1933 to say that the council was given this land by the government. It was a land grant to the council. The council has in time sold those lands to villagers. And they refused to accept that those sales were proper. In fact, I must tell the people of BV, this Mohammed man, when he came to the council, because we had asked that the council write John Finance, instead of writing John Finance, they wrote to Mohammed to invite them to a meeting to this. So when we objected to Mohammed's being in the meeting, Mohammed threatened me. He actually threatened me, saying, all of you who goes on Facebook and talking all sort of nonsense, y'all gonna see. So that was a direct reference to me, because prior to that, Councillor Cumberbatch was talking about my activities on Facebook. So he recognized me, I as the one who's on Facebook talking about the council's delinquencies. So he now picked it up on me, tell him what he's going to do to people who like to go on Facebook. I'm saying this now. I didn't say it before, but I see that as a direct threat to me. Right? Anyhow, Mr. Mohammed, I've said it, and you know what you said to me.
If I may ask another question, Sir Elton. If it's established that the lands are private lands, so clearly a sale to Fernandez would have been illegal.
Yes.
I thought I heard then that somehow the rights to buy were then reassigned to Mohammed. How are rights being reassigned if in fact a sale would be invalid in the first place?
Well, that is what I'm arguing. But the council, the majority of the council is silent on it. That's why I went to John Finance, took my time off, I went to John Finance, tried to speak to the secretary of John Finance. We spoke on the phone, and we have had 3 other conversations by phone. Up to the morning of the council meeting, he told me he's coming to the council meeting to raise the issue with the council about how to get John Finance monies back. But maybe because he's ashamed or whatever, he did not turn up, because they know what they have done. I'm calling it as it is. John Finance is supposed to be a reputable company. And all the people I know, when I mention John Finance, they said, no, John Finance will not do things like that. Once they know the lands as issues, they will back off. Yes, they did back off, but they are still old. They have still done something, or apparently they have done something which is not kosher. That is reassigning the rights to Mohammed. And as I said, I was told that maybe Mohammed was the third party between the council and them. So Mohammed maybe have to pay back John Finance whatever commissions he made or whoever else got commissions. So he doesn't want to pay back the commission. So that would have to be falling onto the council. The council will now, when confronted by Mohammed will call a shot to cover his commission to pay back to the council, to John Finance. Maybe that's what they're waiting for. I don't know. So that is where we are. Yeah. So the council, we have mass emancipation coming up. I was told the young ladies in the, the majors shall be performing for the village and so on. I wish all of you guys, because I will not be seeing you before Emancipation Day, all who wants to go down to the national park, please do go down and enjoy yourself. Enjoy our emancipation anniversary, because this community was bought by those people who got emancipated in 1st of August, 1838. Though some will say 1833. But in light of that, we must all celebrate emancipation. And we must note, the African emancipation of Ghana is an emancipation for all. Because if those Africans were not emancipated, all the others who came to Ghana would have been enslaved. For instance, the East Indians leaving India would have come here to be slaves, because in India, slavery was still legal. So the fact that they came to a place where an emancipation proclamation was made gave them that right to be free people when they got here. Even though, notwithstanding, they would have signed a contract in India, but the fact that they came to a society which could have been a slave society, they could have been enslaved under some pretext or the other. So they must appreciate emancipation as a part of their thing too. So go out and join your African brothers and sisters at that emancipation celebration. I'm saying to the other relative, residents of BVTriumph, because we have, our community is made up of Africans and Indians by and large. The Africans will celebrate because their foreparents did fought for that. But the Indians must also be there to celebrate because, as I said, they benefited from that proclamation in some way or the other, right? What else can I say about the two villagers? School is closed. We have our school children at home. Parents must begin to prepare those children for new school years. There will be some groups. I know my sister Janssen will be coming in to have our session with the young ones. Last year, she did have a session during the holidays, and because of COVID, where she kept some holiday classes, and there are some other people who are planning to do the same. Please facilitate them. I know Sister Waldron, not Waldron. Yes, she was Waldron. She's now married. I can't remember her first name now. She's also planning to do some things with the school children at home for the holidays. Please support her. If anyone wants to assist those sisters, that is Sister Jane Jansen Hamilton. And I keep forgetting what's Sister Waldron's first name. She will also be doing a program. Maybe you can all join with them and ensure that the children of BVTriumph have a worthwhile vacation school program for them, because it will help them in the new school year when school starts in September. So with that, I will say goodbye and to you all.
Di tay na lang, di na baby.